Bristol, Polish cigarette smugglers caught being careless end up carless.
This vehicle is also seized.
I need my car.
In Birmingham, a Chinese man carrying £3,000 seems to be lying about his wages.
Every week you get 200.
200.
Right, that's only 800 a month.
And in Gatwick, one couple's Jamaican holiday ends on a high.
It's very, very high. We need to look at this a bit more, I think.
At Bristol Airport, holidaymakers have just returned home from Arrecife in Lanzarote. The Canary Islands are outside of the EU for tax purposes, and there are tight restrictions on duty-free goods coming into the country. Officers are using X-ray machines to find any bags that have exceeded these limits. 3 suitcases appear to be full of cigarettes, so officers wait in the baggage hall to see if the owners will declare the goods.
Looking at the Arrecife flight, which is non-EU, so there is an allowance, 200 cigarettes, 250 grams of tobacco per adult, and we'll see if anything transpires.
Officers believe that the cigarettes they found are likely to be sold illegally. They suspect the people carrying them may not be the only ones involved.
Oh, you take them, eh?
So instead of pulling them over, they'll be followed. 2 women appear with the suspect cases, and, as anticipated, they walk straight through the Nothing to Declare channel. Officers follow close behind, and once outside, the women are joined by a male accomplice. As the passengers load their bags into a waiting car, officers run to intercept them.
Open the boot.
A quick look in the first case shows it's full of cigarettes.
Okay, car keys.
Sorry?
Keys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And as the other 2 cases are opened, they too are stuffed to the brim with cigarettes.
At the moment, these cigarettes are all seized. All right? You understand that? Confiscated? Okay. At the moment,
Yeah.
this vehicle
Yeah.
is also seized. We keep the vehicle. Do you understand that?
And why?
Because the cigarettes were in the vehicle.
I need my car.
Okay, well, you have to sort that out later, but at the moment it's seized, right?
I'm only driver. These people rental me. I need my car.
What we're saying is you've used this vehicle to transport the goods. We saw them in the vehicle,
Yeah, I
and that's
don't
why
know
it's seized.
what inside the bag. What inside?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have cigarettes in your
Sort it all
bag?
out inside.
Yeah,
They all go inside, okay?
It may sound harsh, but the car will remain seized until they've got to the bottom of the suspected smuggling ring. At Gatwick Airport, flights arrive on a daily basis from the Caribbean. Officers use sniffer dogs to find traces of drugs being imported illegally from countries with strong links to the drugs trade. If the dog makes a positive indication, passengers are pulled aside in the customs channels so they can be searched further. One such passenger is a young male who's returning from a holiday with his girlfriend.
You patch everything yourself, yeah? Does anybody ask you to carry any goods for a while? Okay. Do you have food in your bag?
No, I had this in my bag.
Sorry?
I had this in my bag, yeah. There's nothing in it, I just have cards.
The man produces a small cannabis pipe, and officers suspect he's a drug user.
In Montego.
The passengers open up about the drugs they've encountered as their suitcase is swabbed for any traces.
You can smoke right out, we smoked it, we didn't even get offered it, but then we didn't go on so.
Despite proclaiming their innocence, the results from the drug swab test are alarmingly high.
It's very, very high. We need to look at this a bit more, I think.
It's starting to get a little...
That's the one that the dog showed interest in as well.
He's starting to get a little angsty about it.
Keep this.
Ask him if he's been using it out there.
Yeah.
Just do another one in the in another area in the same sort of bag.
In the same bag?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just
They're showing a very high reading for drugs at the moment. Have you? No. Okay. I'm not saying you have. Okay, but have you been smoking anything, or?
Well,
it's probably best to declare at this moment.
My mates do when I'm back at home, but I don't.
Yeah, you don't personally.
No, I
use it?
don't. No.
Okay.
So did you try anything while you're out there?
No, I'm telling you, Lottie.
The bag is swabbed again in a different place to see if the readings are consistently high. This time, there's a small trace reading for cocaine and heroin.
Have you been through the bag at all?
Basic, so I haven't gone through every single item, as in really scrutinised it.
Yeah, I'll take him in for a rub down, see how you go.
Officers decide to take their search to the next level to see if he's got any drugs on his body. Back at Bristol, officers are busy emptying 3 suitcases filled entirely with cigarettes smuggled into the UK from Lanzarote. The passengers have been informed that the cigarettes and the vehicle being used to carry the cigarettes are being seized. The driver, who claims he's just collecting his friends and knows nothing of the suspected cigarette smuggling ring, is taken into a private room for questioning.
So who are these for?
This is mine.
For you? You smoke all of it?
Yes, I smoke.
Your friends smoke?
Yes.
Yeah.
But officers don't believe that this many cigarettes are for personal consumption only.
How many do you reckon we've got altogether, roughly? Please.
We've got to be talking 30, 40,000.
The passengers are questioned separately to try and establish more information about the suspected smuggling ring.
Yeah, but did you buy it? You bought it. Okay. Did you go? Did you go just to buy cigarettes?
No.
No.
Holidays.
For one day.
2 days.
2 days. One night. Yeah.
The one gentleman with the red jacket, he seems to be the money man in this organisation.
So you just carried the cigarettes through for him?
Okay.
That's fine. I understand, because I am a secret, and you needed the money, so you did it for the money. Okay, it's all right.
I don't know where she buying, when.
You don't know who she's buying them for? No?
All of the passengers' stories seem to contradict each other.
He knew there was fags in those cases, because when we went out and he caught sight of us following him, he separated as if to say, whoa.
Outside of the European Union, passengers are allowed to bring back a strict allowance of just 200 cigarettes.
Cigarettes are gone, okay? Seized.
You take it.
Yeah, you are over your allowance, you're not allowed any of them. No. This tells you how you can appeal, but it's up to you whether you...
I'm not reading it.
You're not reading it? No? Well, that's up to you.
The man's reluctance to read the appeal procedure reinforces officers' suspicions that the cigarettes were intended to be sold. Both men leave their supposed friends behind. They'll have to find an alternative way home, since their car remains seized.
From this particular time, the action is just limited to seizure, but if they're caught repeatedly, it might be a bit more serious next time.
The female passengers also leave the airport empty-handed, and the massive haul of 37,000 cigarettes will be sent for incineration. Back at Gatwick, officers investigating a male passenger whose suitcase has given a high reading for cocaine are about to take him for a rub-down search.
Okay, basically, as you can see, the
I
I just need someone to explain to you, so you can see everything's being done above board. Basically, like I said, he's showing signs of drugs, but that doesn't mean to say you've got it. It's a very, very sensitive swab. Okay. The dog has also shown an indication in you.
Right.
Okay. So what we want to do now is to bring you in for a search. Okay. Which we have to carry on. Yeah. Okay.
The
man is led to a private room where he admits he's been stopped before.
I got stopped on the way out as well. He stopped me for 10 minutes. Spoke to me, that was it.
Despite a thorough search, he's not found to be carrying any drugs. So officers try another check on his shoes. Meanwhile, the man's partner continues talking to officers and confesses that her boyfriend has been known to use drugs in the past. But no further traces of drugs are found from the shoes, and officers are happy he's not a smuggler.
Right, that's okay, yeah. Okay. Okay, do you like to say it's all done like that?
No, I ain't bothered.
Have you, just for my benefit, what you do is entirely up to you, but have you done a bit of gear, a bit of Charlie, or anything like that?
No, I can't. No, I just had a medical about 3 months ago.
Right.
My license back, so I can't.
Right, okay. He was rubbed down and searched. There was nothing on him of customs interest, nothing that would indicate any further drugs on his body or anything like that. He said he recently had a medical, which he said he doesn't use drugs at all. So from our point of view, we're quite happy for him to proceed.
The traces in the man's bag are put down to contamination, and the couple are free to leave. At Gatwick Airport, UK Border Agency officers are observing passengers who've just arrived from Kingston in Jamaica.
Just nice and slowly past the dog, please. Bags down off the shoulders.
As drug detection dogs assess the travellers, officers have been drawn to a couple who've been behaving suspiciously.
Thank you.
At the immigration desk, the woman in white is asked to remove her sunglasses for passport verification. Her partner in the red shirt at the desk next to her is allowed to proceed. Eventually, she too is allowed through. But Officer Chris has reasons to doubt they're legitimate travellers.
The fact they changed their date of return to come back by a week, to us, they look quite nervous. Down at immigration, they acted very sort of strangely, that they sort of try going the wrong exit.
The couple separate as they exit the baggage reclaim area. Typical behaviour of passengers with something to hide.
Two of you together? Yeah. Can I get your passports and tickets? How long have you been out there for? 17, 18 days. Okay. Holiday? Okay. Well, back to work tomorrow now, is it, or what?
I wish. No, got made redundant last year, so.
Okay. What was you doing?
Building supplies.
Okay, and how about you?
I'm just stay-at-home mum.
A holiday in the Caribbean is an expensive outlay for a couple who aren't working. Suspicion grows that they could be hiding the real reason for their trip.
All right, you packed your own bags?
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody's given you anything to bring back at all, have they? Okay, let's have a good look at your bags anyway. Okay.
But it seems the man doesn't want his case to be searched.
I don't think I've got the key in that one for us.
Oh, right, how come you've got the key?
Yeah.
If the keys aren't found by the time the other suitcase has been searched, the padlock will be forcibly removed.
Not that good.
A small trace of cocaine is detected from the first suitcase. So Officer Pete decides to remove the padlock from the other one. Surprisingly, it's almost empty.
I'm just going to x-ray this bag, okay?
He just looks nervous.
This is so light. They're acting so nervous.
The bag is checked for any hidden concealments.
Doesn't look that promising either, does it?
There's nothing in the bag that we can find, but the things like they didn't have the lock for their padlock was a bit unusual. The fact where they've come from as well just gives us grounds to go to the next sort of level of the search.
With no concrete evidence found on the couple so far, for now, their story remains a mystery. At Birmingham Airport, a number of flights are about to depart for destinations around the world. Officers are monitoring passengers in departure lounges and checking for large quantities of cash. Passengers leaving the country must declare any quantity of cash over 10,000 euros, and officers are interested in questioning passengers carrying anything over 1,000 euros. Large quantities of cash leaving the country is often linked to organised crime, so sniffer dogs are deployed to make initial detections on passengers.
How long are you going to China for?
About a week.
About a week.
See my granddad.
One passenger travelling to China has been pulled over for questioning after confessing to carrying a few £1,000s.
So it's just a pleasure trip, it's not a business trip?
Sorry?
It's not a business trip, it's just pleasure?
No.
Yeah. Why are you taking £3,000 for the week?
You know, my granddad's ill and I need to die.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Right, okay. How much money have you put in the suitcases on the aeroplane?
I think it's a few hundred.
A few hundred, okay.
With more cash in his checked-in suitcase, the officer asks to have this removed from the flight so it can also be checked.
I need the bags off for this guy. So, how much do you earn a month?
How much a month?
Yeah.
Let me calculate.
You must know.
2,000 exactly. I think it's
2,000 exactly.
about 2,500. Also, I ran the business for somebody.
So you're renting a business for somebody, so you have an additional income that way?
Yeah. I got a 2 limit here.
Yeah. We're asking now specifically about your rental income.
Rental income?
Yeah, you said you had rental income as well.
I can't say exactly because I got the accounting.
So if you're providing the accountant the figures, you would know how much you were earning?
Every month I got 200.
You get 200?
Yeah,
I thought you said 2,500.
Sorry, every week, sorry
Every week you get 200?
Every week, 200.
Right, that's only 800 a month.
The man seems to be confused about his finances.
Just stay with your money just now, sir. I'm going to make some calls and check something. I'll be right back to you, okay? Just watch your money.
The officer suspects that deliberately or otherwise, he may not be paying his taxes. Back at Gatwick, officers are continuing to investigate a couple who've been acting nervously since arriving back in the UK from Jamaica.
How did you finance the trip?
Hard saving.
This remains doubtful given neither of the couple currently work.
This is our reward for putting through this ship.
Right, okay.
The questioning starts to make the man defensive.
Yeah, it's an expensive trip for somebody who's not working, okay? Unfortunately, I understand that.
But it's not just here the couple have aroused suspicion.
That's quite ironic, actually. We've had this treatment both ends so far.
All right.
Don't know why we're single.
We almost missed a flight.
Okay. I'm afraid I will have to ask for rub-down searches on both of you anyway, okay?
Now we're going to go to the search of person. If we don't find anything in there, we find sort of additional factors from the search, we'll think again about what we're going to do.
Both passengers are taken to separate rooms and searched individually to see if they're carrying any drugs on their bodies.
I'm just trying to see if there's any traces in the shoes to establish if she's a swimmer.
If passengers are carrying drugs internally, traces are often excreted through the sweat glands in feet.
That seems okay in the green colour.
The woman's shoes come back clear. With no hard evidence found on her, she's released to await the outcome of her partner.
Just going to pat you down, basically. Okay. Let's see you hold your feet there as well. I think we're just about done.
Surprisingly, nothing is found on the male passenger either. Despite their erratic behaviour and very unusual story, the couple are free to go.
They're actually very, very nervous. They were marching up and down left, right and centre. There was a change in the booking of the tickets. He was unemployed. How did he afford a holiday like that with no job?
Although their conduct still remains suspicious, Officer Pete has no option but to accept their version of events.
Don't know what it was about, but as he said, it was a holiday to celebrate being unemployed, and that was it.
In Birmingham, officers are investigating a suspected tax evader who's trying to take more than £3,000 in cash out to China.
I'll just tell you what's happening just now, sir. Because you've got more than £1,000 in cash, customs investigate the source of the cash. Now, as long as your money comes from a legitimate source, the money will be returned to you.
Yeah,
now, just let me finish, right? The officer's going back to do some checks just now with the tax office to see how much you've declared over the last 3 years. So, in your suitcase downstairs, we're bringing that up just now. How much do you think you've got in there? Be honest with me.
300 to 500.
Is that all you've got in there? Right, okay.
The man's checked-in suitcase has been retrieved. Officers will exhaust every avenue to check his story.
Did you pack this by yourself, sir? Did you pack it up?
yeah.
Everything in the bag, does it belong to you?
Yes.
Are you carrying anything for anybody else today? No.
More checks are conducted to confirm how much income tax the man has paid from his restaurant business.
I'm going to go in and check what his earnings are, okay?
With just minutes before the man's flight is due to depart, officers will have to make a very quick decision about whether to let the man leave the country with his cash.
You told me you were a director of a limited company.
Yeah, two limited.
Yeah, and you say you earn 2,500 roughly a month.
Hey, he lets you £6.
Once again, the officer works out the passenger's outgoings, but they don't seem to tally with what he's declared to the tax office.
We've got you declared your total income of 16,334.
16,000.
Yeah. Now, if you're saying you only earn £16,000 a year, you told me you get paid at least £800 a month from the other restaurant, okay? So that's going to take you right up to 22 grand right away.
You do a long bit.
It seems there's a big discrepancy with the man's finances. If he's to catch his flight, there's no time to argue.
Yeah, mate, what's going on with this? We need to make a decision ASAP.
Stand by.
The man gets a lucky escape.
What I'm going to do just now, sir, is I'm going to let you travel today because your flight's leaving imminently and I don't have time to do the additional checks I need to do. So I'm going to let you fly today, but I'm going to put a referral into the tax office because I believe you're not declaring the income. Put your stuff back in the case and fly today, sir, right? Okay? And that's it, finished today, okay?
Thank you.
No problem.
The man is fortunate to be allowed to leave the country with his cash, but he's likely to be in trouble with the tax office when he returns. In Dover, officers have pulled a truck full of resin granules, perfect for concealing large quantities of drugs or cigarettes deep in the centre of the load, where even the powerful customs X-ray machine can't see clearly.
Well, it'd been scanned and we weren't sure whether there was anything there or not. We've been in and had a look, and it is because it's the granules are so tightly packed. It's very dense. It's difficult for any sort of X-ray equipment to break it down.
The officer spots that the bags in the centre of the load have different packaging, and there's only one way to find out what's inside.
Basically, it looks like the two rear pallets are clean. They've just got the granules in because you can see around the edges they've got the green writing on, whereas when you get those out of the way, the inner stack, the bottom three sacks are plain brown. There's no writing around the outside, so I'm 99.99% certain they've got cigarettes in them. So all we're going to do is just cut open those. The only thing is the granules they've packed around it are just going to go everywhere, so we have to tidy those up later. Hey, presto, cigarettes.
It's a sophisticated attempt to smuggle hundreds of thousands of fags into the UK, but thanks to this team's experience, it's failed.
Makes it worthwhile, especially when you've got to go to a bit of effort to find it. And it looks like it's going to be exactly the same all the way down to the single pallets at the front, possibly. It goes as far as there.
These ones dirty?
Those ones are dirty, those ones are clean. 17 by 6 by 3,000. The front two, it looks like I've only got 3 bags, 3 dirty bags in each. So it's the equivalent of 17 dirty pallets.
So it's 304,000?
Yeah.
306,000?
306,000.
Which means the smugglers have laboriously stashed over 15,000 individual packs.
It's not actually that unusual. A lot of the Eastern Europeans, for some reason, quite often they'll be broken down into the packs of 20, but then sellotaped into carton sizes by breaking them down into smaller packages. Obviously, they make them harder to find. It's always easier to find larger amounts than it is to find smaller amounts.
at Gatwick, officers are on the lookout for 2 passengers who've mysteriously split up at passport control.
But he came on his own, not with the other guys.
Right, okay.
One with previous charges of hardcore drug smuggling.
And one was suspectedly involved in a previous drugs importation, actually putting drugs, stitching or surgically inserting drugs into dogs in a Labrador, and then importing the Labrador from Colombia. Although he wasn't found guilty of that offence, so clearly not a dog lover. What's interesting is the two they don't appear to have come through together.
The 2 men tried to disappear in the crowd, but the officers have them in their sights.
Hello, sir. Where have you come from today?
Antigua.
Antigua. I'd like to come over very quickly.
Oh, well, the name. Yeah, it was. I think.
Both men are questioned to see if their stories match up.
And what was the reason for your trip?
Our reason?
Yeah.
What, to visit my mum.
Okay, and how long were you out there for?
2 weeks.
Lovely.
You travelling on your own today?
Pardon?
You travelling on your own today?
Yeah, well, a couple of us, but the rest of them is in the line.
Oh, right, sir.
Did you travel on your own today, sir?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
With their known connections with drug smuggling, their contradictory answers warrant further investigation.
Around the edge here, some sort of thickness there, but it seemed quite heavy. So what we'll do is just pierce it very quickly to see if anything comes out.
Just supplement.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, it didn't. So because I was here.
The drug swab gives a small hit for cocaine, and the 2 officers compare their findings.
He told me he's travelling with him.
My chap said he was on his own.
Right, the guy I've got said there were 10 of them over in Antigua. They didn't all go out together, they went out in various groups. Met in Antigua, 10 of them. And today, 3 of them have travelled back. Him, and he pointed to the guy you're searching to say that they are travelling together. So,
all right then. Right, that's interesting. When I first stopped you at the start, you know, as I was just explaining who I was and where you'd come from, and I asked if you'd travelled on your own. Now, my colleague just happened to be chatting out to another chap over there, and when we just happened to be out there at the same time, he said that actually this chap said he'd travelled with you.
Yeah, we're all together while moving on our own. But, yeah, that.
So when you said you travelled on your own,
I think even if I'm travelling with probably a woman or kids or something like that.
Right. Okay. So, but you did. Yeah. Okay. Was it just the 2 of you?
No, there's another one as well.
Okay. Thank you.
That's fair enough.
I'm actually, apart from, I'm nicking a bottle of honey, but apart from that, I'm completely happy.
nothing at all, the guy I've got. He's not quite relaxed, actually.
Yeah. So, are you happy?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Finding nothing to justify a body search,
Thank you for your patience.
the 2 passengers are free to go.
There's your passport. Have a safe journey home. Cheers. He seemed an alright guy. I mean, not nervous at all. More than willing for me to do the search, and because of his cooperation, we've got it done a bit quicker actually. So you want to catch people with drugs, but at the end of the day, you don't want to catch innocent people. So there it goes.
The war against drug gangs is also fought using undercover surveillance officers. In 2005, officers listening in on one smuggling plot picked up clues that another bigger importation was being hatched by 3 men.
It was carried out over a period of about 6 months. Some fairly intensive surveillance on a number of people, which included Simon Fisher, Thomas Little, Paul Phipps.
Undercover customs officers put the suspects under continuous surveillance. The officers began hearing hints of what sounded like a major drug smuggling plot.
Certain phrases were picked up by the officers while they were out on surveillance, and one of those was brave to do it, and the other was run. Run is a common term in smuggling parlance, one that we would expect to hear. Brave to do it really speaks for itself.
The officers were waiting for any hint of the next stage of the plot. The suspect's intentions became clearer when they were followed to a meeting with a pilot.
You saw the chap who turned out to be a pilot, Leith, make a gesture with his hand. It seemed very much like a plane flying in, coming down low, and then taken up again. And this started to give us an idea of what was being discussed. Pilot surveillance took place in Etchin Hill a little while later, and on the seat of William Leith's car there was a map of the surrounding area, and Simon Fisher, Paul Phipps and William Leith went out looking over the fields what we believe now was a sighting to try and find a suitable venue to drop the drugs off from the plane.
But so far, all Customs had was talk. They needed more concrete proof of what the gang were planning. The already intensive surveillance was about to step up a gear.
Surveillance was carried out by aeroplane from Bournemouth Airport, and in fact what we had was an officer in a plane shadowing the light aircraft that the smuggling gang had hired.
The plane drops down to what we think is about 100 foot off the ground, then pulls up sharply and heads away again. And that was what we believe was a dummy run for their intended drugs drop.
When you're conducting these operations, there's always the right time to actually knock something, to actually take it further. And the team here made a decision that they actually had enough material.
But the officers in the UK were beaten to it when the pilot Leith was caught red-handed with the drugs before he'd even left the ground.
And he was actually arrested in Belgium with 63 kilos of cannabis in a light aircraft, which really confirmed our suspicions that they were intending to bring in drugs in a private aircraft.
The smugglers' plan had collapsed, and worse still, they were about to be arrested. Phipps and Little were taken out together, caught carrying a holdall and a box containing £400,000 in cash. Fisher tried to hide but was tracked using his mobile phone and arrested in a pub. They were all found guilty at trial. Little was given community service, but as the organisers, Fisher received 7 years and Phipps 5 years. It all came as a big surprise to the gang who were oblivious to the surveillance operation that snared them.
I was surprised that they were surprised. Certainly when we saw the defendants in court and they were watching the evidence that we'd collated, yeah, I would definitely say that they were surprised. I think a testament to the quality of the surveillance officers that we have.
In Bristol, a plane from Banjul has just touched down. Officers are on the ground hoping to catch any drug smugglers, notorious on this flight.
Banjul is a flight for us really, which is produced for cocaine as well as a couple of cannabis seizures been taken from it. Anything which doesn't look familiar or looks out of the ordinary, it could be anything, just pull it off and pull over the passengers and see what's in the bags with.
The X-ray can identify drugs, tobacco and foodstuffs. But to find out exactly which, passengers need to be searched.
Shows the round, shows it was organic. It's, yeah. Another one there. We've got 3 bags so far.
The X-ray has identified 3 suspicious bags. But while the team wait to apprehend the passengers, a man with a small bag and a new suit tries to make a quick exit.
Just stop the gentleman. He's claimed he's been out there trying to do some business for a couple of weeks. Looks like he's got folks on a suitcase. That was it.
The passenger's bag has been glued. Inside is an unusual object that Russ suspects may have been put there deliberately.
I mean, it might just be some sort of strengthener, but I think it's possible it's a strengthener. It's that there. Got about 3 or 4 compartments, this suitcase. Between the linings, it just looked like there was a bit tacky and a bit of glue along one little rim. It's quite well done. It looked intact for most of it, but it's just a little layer of glue. I've sort of pulled it back and opened it up in the middle, and there's a package within that. I'm suspecting there's probably other packages within the other bits as well, but I can't see what's in it at the moment. It's just a plastic package, but it's clearly something suspicious, so we need to just arrest him and take it further from there.
Have you scanned it?
The passenger is arrested, while Russ tries to determine what's in the suspicious bag.
Just test it from distance.
Yeah, around there. What around? Do you want me to actually...
In fact, it's glued as well.
There?
Yeah, there. Yeah. What do you think it is, Max?
Could be anything.
Just think on there, right, okay.
And then go over. Yeah, definitely. Have that. And right, which is if I include, you know, whether you want to thumbs up, bicycle, but you ready so much? I picture you already.
Oh,
Pretty high.
The package within the bag has come up with quite a high positive trace for cocaine. It's possible there might be some other packages within that bag. But I'm going to need to put in a call to our investigation team to see what they want to do with it from this point.
Targeting the flight from Banjul has paid off, which is more than can be said for this man's attempt to smuggle cocaine, and his ordeal is far from over. In Cornwall, customs ship searcher is on patrol. Skipper Colin gets a call about a Polish ship heading into Falmouth with a container of explosives being returned from North Africa.
How much are we talking about here? A 20-foot container? Right, yeah, okay, we'll definitely be there, mate. No
It's a race to beat the vessel into port, just in case there are any smugglers amongst the crew.
Yeah, we want to be there when it arrives, because that sort of, they're either going to offload stuff very quickly and get it off as soon as they arrive, probably to shore crews or shore parties, or the other way of doing it is to take stuff off just before they leave, so they keep it in deep stowage, deep hidden concealment, and then just bring it out at the last minute and get it ashore then. But the quick snatch and throw it over the side as soon as they arrive is quite a favourite one still. So if there is anything on there, we want to be there waiting for it.
The Polish ship arrives in Falmouth to be greeted by customs officers who want to know why the explosives, originally destined for Libya, are now being discharged in the UK.
And there it is. It's our...
The suspiciously poor paperwork shows no name, but it turns out to be a legitimate cargo, which was rejected in Egypt and is being returned to Holland over land.
What my team are going to do, they're going to have a quick look around the boat, a quick search.
The mystery of the container has been solved, but the officers also want to rummage the entire ship for illegal cigarettes.
The age of it, there's probably going to be a few hidey holes here as well, by the looks of it, that have been used before, so there's a fair chance that they might have stockpiled a few cigarettes for usage in their time with UK waters, so hopefully we'll find those.
Back in Bristol, the examination of the man with a bag of cocaine continues. The bag is x-rayed, and it looks like there's more than they thought.
It's good when all this stuff we have works.
What do you reckon that could be? 3 kilos or more?
Good job, Russ. But I did say I wanted that one.
It's a serious haul of a Class A drug. And before Russ can transport the arrested man into custody, he'll have to be strip-searched.
The only behavioural indicator that I spotted was him fiddling around in his pockets a lot, maybe. He is nervous. Yeah.
You go from top to bottom? From low to top?
I know we get to do the bottom first. We're conscious. We have been authorised to conduct a strip search of you because of what you're carrying in your briefcase.
Not all smugglers act the same, but this man appears unconcerned by the seriousness of the crime.
Okay, if you remove your jacket and your belt to start, please. I was just saying, actually, it's amazing how cool he is. He's to get what he could be possibly getting at the end of it. It's just amazing how he's so cool. I mean, he hasn't even raised his voice or anything. He looks really cool. It's amazing, to be honest. You don't know really. You don't know what they're feeling inside. If you was to put your hand by his chest, it may be a different story. But from the outside, he looks as cool as a cucumber.
The officers also search the rest of his bags and find 2 passports in other names.
Oh my God, there's got another one. Got another passport. Please.
The gentleman's in a significant amount of trouble at the moment, yeah. He'll be handcuffed, put in a car and taken to Weston-super-Mare police station. He's just sitting there very compliantly at the moment. Hopefully he'll stay that way when we take him to the police station.
It's a great result for the officers, with over 3 kilos of cocaine off the streets and 1 more smuggler heading for some serious time behind bars. Customs officers are still searching the Polish vessel for any cigarettes being smuggled into the UK to be sold on the black market.
Now, you declared 60 cigarettes?
Yes, 60 cigarettes.
Where are those 60 cigarettes to begin with? Put them there. That's your declaration, okay? Not a problem.
Yeah.
Do you have any more cigarettes?
I'm not sure. I have 40 more.
40 cigarettes more. That's all? Yeah, that's it.
Woody's finding signs that the crew aren't all as honest as they should be.
Right. Yeah, just out of reach. There's 100. Have you got any more cigarettes hidden? You put on the form 200. There's 300. Got any more?
No, 4 packets. I'm a cabin smoke, cabin smoke.
Good. Have you hidden any more cigarettes in the galley? Yes. Where have you put them?
Yeah, sorry, very much.
It's only a small amount, but it's often a sign of bigger things to come.
A lot of the time the captain doesn't know what the crew are up to. That's why the best areas to search are usually away from where the captain might go on a day-to-day basis.
The captain wants to sail on, but searching the ship could take hours, although there's no evidence of serious smuggling so far.
We've got the initial details. I mean, potentially it was a great big terrorist problem. We had hints that it was going to Libya. We've managed to clamp it down to being a legitimate company, doing legitimate trade, which is basically what our work's all about, really. Sorting out the bad guys from the good guys. Just hang on a sec, he's shouting something. You found 10,000.
Just as they're about to give up, they find a stash of cigarettes deep in the ship's hull.
Cigarettes were found up on top of that ledge, behind some pallets. So this place here was locked. You need to go right around the back there and over the top, and there's 3 pallets there. You go behind the pallets. Who put them here then?
Sorry? Whose cigarettes are they?
I don't know, I first smell them on board.
You done his cabin?
I've done his cabin, worked was clear.
Money?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, right. Oh, well, okay then, bosun. Santa Claus put them there, eh?
Santa Claus?
The bosun, we think, is the only man with the access to this area, but he's saying that everyone's got access to it, so we need to find out now who actually owns the cigarettes and who's put them up.
The situation is that we think there are more cigarettes on here. Now, there's 2 options. We can stay here and find them, and we are getting dirty, we are getting tired, we're getting upset. Or you can tell the crew to bring any more cigarettes to us.
But they didn't have any.
We have just found 10,000, Captain. And it's causing you a lot of problems if you don't get the owner for us and help us out by trying to find out if there are more cigarettes on here. Maybe you could have a word with the crew and tell them to find cigarettes for us. Or there will be problems with the company. And there will also be problems with the fine on the vessel.
Straight.
Yeah. Okay.
It could mean a hefty fine if he doesn't cooperate. So the captain summons the crew to the mess deck and reads them the riot act, in the hope of identifying the smuggler. No one owned up, and as the cigarettes were so well hidden, the officers decide not to find the captain or the company.
We came on board this ship for the explosives, but also to search it in case there was any more explosives, firearms. So we didn't actually expect to find any cigarettes. But there you go. It's just one of these things, you know. You don't expect to find things, but it's a lot of this job. If you don't look, you don't find.
This smuggler's plan has failed, and the 10,000 cigarettes will now be destroyed. The cocaine smuggler in Bristol pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 9 years in prison. It turns out he's also wanted in Italy for a string of other drug-related offences.